Women cannot drive. Nah, I'm just playing. I had to say something so you would start listening to this episode. I know that was kind of crazy, but before we get into it, welcome back everybody to the Random PM podcast. I hope you're having a great day. The last episode, the one with the movie reviews, did not do as well as I thought it would. I don't know, it's because like the fact that it wasn't about me failing in life or the fact that it wasn't funny enough, but the numbers don't lie. So I probably will not make a part two of that. The Odyssey was a good movie. I don't know why. I could have just said it was a good movie in the review, but it was a really good movie. I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, or give my thoughts because someone still hasn't watched it, but it wasn't a bad movie. But yeah, a lot of people did not like that, which is fair. I understand, but I feel like I really am running out of ideas to talk about. So if you have an idea or you think of something that you would want to listen to, just let me know. I know I say this literally every episode, but I do eventually want to have a guest on. It's just a matter of, finding a way to make it work because my setup is really only good for like a solo show. I have had a few requests for me to drink a little bit of that, that Hennessy and make an episode. And I might do that. But yeah, if you enjoy the show, share it with a friend, leave a review. Not a lot of people are leaving a review. I don't know how much that helps the show grow or not, but definitely leave a review. Even if you don't like it, leave a 1-star review, at least so I know that you listened. But yeah, you don't really care about the intro. You want me to get right into it. Now, this episode was definitely random. Well, that's the name of the show, but I wasn't going to record anything tonight. But as I was driving to go pick up my brother from his game, I realized just how awful drivers of today are. Now, I didn't start learning how to drive until I was 18. I did take, I believe it was called like an aceable course, but that was about it. So I didn't have any driving experience. In fact, I booked an appointment at the DMV and then practiced driving 1 week before that. And oh, don't even get me started on the DMV. So I thought with the first appointment, you could like get everything registered and then take your test on the same day. So days before the appointment, I was watching tutorial videos. I was seeing like other people. There was this one YouTube channel where he would post people's driving tests. I was taking notes. Like I was ready. I was like, I'm going to pass this test on the first go. So we get to the DMV, and of course, in typical fashion, there's a really long line. So we wait in line, and we finally get to the counter, and they're like, "What are you here for?" And I'm like, "I'm ready to take this test. Like, put me in the car, give me a hot instructor, let's do this." Or what? Not instructor, but like, someone to grade my driving. I'm ready to do this. And they were like, "Are you a dumbass? No, we need all your information, all your paperwork, and then we can." Like, you have to make another appointment, and that's when you take your driving test. So I gave them literally my birth certificate, my social security card, my report card, my resume. I gave them every single piece of paper that they could possibly need. I even gave them the Cash App bank statement. That's how desperate it got. I'm surprised they didn't ask for my special DNA. And so after all of that, I gave them all the paper, and they're like calling around, like, is he allowed to use this? Blah 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 blah. Finally, they're like, okay, all your info is good. So now you have to book your actual test. They didn't have an appointment for like, it was like 2 weeks out. So I was like, you've got to be joking. I don't know why you can't take it all in one go, but that's besides the point. So then the appointment finally arrives. Again, I'm taking notes. I'm doing practice tests. I'm driving in the right, like I'm doing everything possible. And then the day of the appointment comes, and the car I used, it was a 1990 Toyota Corolla. I know some of y'all are like, why were you driving that? It's the car I had at the time. In fact, I named it the little engine. But anyway, we pull up for the test at the time, and they're making me do like the pre-test check. They're like, hey, do your headlights work? Does your brain work? And they wanted me to cancel and reschedule my test because the back headlight, so I guess with the Toyota Corolla, it has, the two brake lights, and then it has a light at the very top. They wanted this light at the very top to work. One, it wasn't midnight, so nobody's going to even have to see it. And two, that means I would have to schedule for something probably way further out in order to be able to take this test. Luckily, I was with my aunt and she smooth talked them a bit and they were like, "Okay, there's an auto zone down the street. If you go down there and they fix that top ridiculous stupid headlight, you can take your test." I was like, "All right, bet." So we go to AutoZone and they're like, "Yeah, we pay for the new light bulb." They fix it and we go back. And the lady who gets in the car, definitely not my type. I'm not a strawberry guy, contrary to what my coworkers would think. But anyway, she's like, "Hey, how are you?" "Good, I'm good." And we start doing like the pre-test, like, "Do your blinkers work? Do your wipers work?" Yada, yada, yada. And then she says, "Okay, you can start pull ahead." Now, I'm not gonna break my neck and become disabled to look to the right of me when there was a very little road to the right, or like there's no way a car was fitting really to the right of us. So if I would have went without looking, I would have been fine. But no, I turned to look to the right. Then I start driving. Now, the first thing she had me do was parallel park between cones. Now, I have a better chance at getting a date with Sabrina Carpenter or Zendaya. I have a better chance of becoming Tom Holland and kissing Zendaya than I ever am gonna have to parallel park where I live because I'm from the Hoodlands. Nobody is parallel parking. So of course I messed that shit up horribly. Like it was awful. I was 10 feet away from the curb. And then she was like, taking notes and stuff, which I thought it was a little soon in the test to already be taking notes, but whatever. Then she makes me pull off onto this isolated road and she goes, "Okay, now I want you to reverse." And I'm like, "Okay, for how long?" And she goes, "Just reverse till I tell you to stop." So I start reversing and like 10 seconds go by and I'm like, I'm not really sure when I'm ever going to have to do this in the real world, but okay. Then 20 seconds goes by and I'm like, well, okay, this is a really long road for one. And I don't know when I'm ever going to have to do this, but I'm going to keep reversing. Then 30 seconds goes by. And then eventually she was, "Okay, you can stop." I don't know what she was judging me on and my ability to do that, but whatever, I digress. So then we finally go forward to the main road. I hit the blinker, I turn right. Again, I basically become disabled to look both ways, so that way she doesn't mark that down. So then, I hit a right on a main road, and then I get into the neighborhood, and somebody was, like, crossing the street, so I slow down and come to a stop, and then she looks at me and then automatically put pen to paper, and I'm like, "What are we critiquing?" I literally stopped so that way I didn't hit them. Oh, I'm getting mad just reciting it. But finally, I'm able to go through the neighborhood and we get back to the DMV. And she's sitting there and she's like, "Hold on, give me a second. I have to tally it up." This lady was rude the whole test. I was trying to talk. I was like, "Hey, I'm a little nervous." And she was like, "Aren't we all?" I was like, "Okay, first of all, just because you hate your job in life doesn't mean you have to stress me out." And then she would like give me side eyes and moan and groan. I am not a moaner or a groaner. I'll tell you that right now. So it was a little frustrating. So then she tallies it up and she goes, "Oh, buddy, you passed by 1 point. I got a 71." Now that I know that might make you think I'm a bad driver. I'm not. Let me tell you why she scored me so low. She was like, "Well, first off, when I told you to go, I didn't really want you to go. In fact, I wanted you to put the car in park, get out, do a 360 around the car, and then start driving." Okay, she didn't really say that. But there was not enough room for a car to even go on the right. So I don't know. She really wanted me to. I don't even know what she wanted me to do. But anyway, so that was one issue. Then she said my reversing. She said I wasn't reversing fast enough. I don't know what need for speed bull crap she wanted me to perform, but I was reversing at a reasonable pace. I don't know what scenario she gets into on her day-to-day commute where she has to reverse for 30 seconds at Mach speed, but that was ridiculous. Then she told me that when I turned onto the main road, I didn't turn. How did she phrase it? She was like, "I turned too sharp." How the hell do you turn too sharp? Now, I could get maybe if you go too wide and go into the next lane, but what does too sharp even mean? And then the last part, the part that really got me was when we were in the neighborhood. She goes, "You don't stop for pedestrians. They need to watch out for you." Now, that is not what my driving class told me. She was frustrated that I stopped and slowed down for the pedestrians. She was like, "They need to be paying attention." So then, after all that, she was like, "Okay, congratulations." I was able to take my photo. They were like, "Do you want to be black or do you want to be white?" Um, I'm not gonna tell you which one I chose. I mean, I did think a lot about it, but I'm not gonna tell you which one I chose. But I got my license, barely passed. But now that I've been driving for nearly 2 years, I see so much stuff that pisses me off. And I know a lot of people in my personal life that can't drive. I know some of my coworkers definitely can't drive. I know one of my friends, one of my best friends, he can't drive either, if I'm being real. No, I'm just playing, don't get mad. He can't drive either though, for real. But there are certain type of drivers that really piss me off. One of them is if you own a truck. Now, there is one guy that I know, I like him a lot, he owns a truck, so I know he's not compensating. But the rest of you guys, I know what you're doing. I know if you have a big truck and then you get out and you're a small guy, I know what you're doing, and it's not working, at least it's not working for me. Then there's the people who go literally 30 miles an hour on the feeder road. The speed limit is anywhere from 50 to 60. Why are you going 30? Especially like sometimes I have no choice. I have to get off at that exit. Why are we going so incredibly slow? Then there's the people who won't let you merge. I don't know if it's a pride issue. I don't know if it's you think you run the road. But zipper people, if one car goes, then let the other car go. Then let the other car go. You can get to your baby mama's house just fine. You don't need to like your girl's not going anywhere. Your homie's not going anywhere. You can go cheat on your wife and your husband at the same time, whether you let somebody in or like whether you don't let somebody in or not. So just let people in, if that makes sense. I think you know what I'm saying. Then there's the people at school. Like, I'm not in school, but when you're driving and the students are on their phone and not paying attention, you can go 5 seconds without texting your boyfriend or girlfriend. I don't believe in young love. I think young relationships, especially if you get married young, is pointless. I think it usually doesn't work out. So really just get off your phone, go across the crosswalk, and all will be fine. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here because those are just some of the things that really irk me. But yeah, this was a random episode, just something I wanted to throw together. If you enjoy, be sure to let me know, leave a review. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. You know the drill. Get with the program and stay random. Thank you so much for listening.